Okay, great. To kick things off, I will turn things over to Lawndale, who is also on this call.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining BACP's South Lawndale Storefront's Pre-Submittal Conference. Today on the call, Sarah, if you want to go to the team slide really quickly. Today on the call, we have a number of people from BACP's Small Business Advocacy team present here. So I'm Lawndale. I'm the Chief Small Business Officer and Managing Deputy Commissioner for our Small Business Advocacy Division. We support small business ecosystem in Chicago and promote economic development. And joined by me today on this call are James Harris, who is the Assistant Commissioner for the Small Business Advocacy Bureau, Maurice Phillips, Director of Economic Recovery for the Economic Recovery Team, and Kentina Kellum, Economic Recovery Projects Administrator, and Sarah Beamer, who is Economic Recovery Projects Administrator, who will be the lead on this program, and she will be walking you through the pre-submittal conference. Please put all questions that you have in chat. Maurice will be monitoring them, and we will take all your Q&A at the end of Sarah's presentation. Sarah, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Great. Thank you. So we will start at the top. As noted, the purpose of this conference is to answer any questions from the economic development organizations that are interested in running this program, like chambers of commerce, community development corporations, or other qualifying nonprofits. So if you are on this call and you represent an individual business that is interested in participating in this program, once it's live, more information will be available in early 2026, most likely January. So once an agency is selected through this request for proposal, more information will be available at that time for interested businesses. So all of that being said, conference moderators cannot take any questions regarding the business eligibility or selection process or topics like that at this time. All of that will be done once an agency is selected and the program is live early next year. Quick overview, we did our welcomes, went over a BACP overview. Let's get into it. Of course, BACP, quite a few divisions. You are here, Small Business Advocacy. And as noted from Lawndale, you are with the Small Business Advocacy Division, and with that, there are multiple different teams, including Neighborhood Strategy and Economic Recovery. So the reason why we are all here today is the South Lawndale Small Business Storefront Activation Program. More this information and so much more is in the RFP itself, but a quick overview on this program. As we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic severely impacted small businesses, a lot of those reliant on foot traffic, leading to increased commercial corridor vacancies across the city. And this program aims to revitalize those corridors and support small businesses with a specific focus on the South Lawndale community area and its 26th Street commercial corridor. So with all that being said, our Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection, will be providing funding to one local community and economic development organization who will, once selected, be called the delegate agency. And this one agency will be responsible for implementing programming that helps small businesses occupy vacant storefronts in South Lawndale. So overview of what we are looking for through this RFP. Once again, that is one local nonprofit organization. The total program budget is up to $250,000. The contract term is 14 months, beginning November of this year and ending December 31st of 2026. No extensions will be given. So through this proposal, we want the respondents, the potential delegate agency, to make sure these key initiatives are included for proposal requirements for storefront activations, that the agency will design and implement pop-up shops, community markets, or other commercial activations in vacant storefronts. So this includes identifying move-in ready spaces, negotiating leases with local landlords, and using a BACP developed intake form to select eligible small businesses to participate. Also, technical assistance will be very important. So the delegate agency must provide the crucial support services to the participating businesses. This is your marketing, business development, and strategic and operational planning. So this comprehensive wraparound approach will provide the selected small businesses with the exposure and support for long-term success, hopefully fostering economic stability and preserving the unique cultural and commercial fabric of the neighborhood. Also, with any RFP, all proposals must comply with, in this case, federal and city requirements for tracking, reporting, and audit compliance, and meet all required milestones before the end of the contract. So who are we looking to apply for this? As mentioned, one local community or economic development organization. So that's typically a chamber of commerce, community development corporation, or a qualified non-for-profit 501c3 or 501c6. When looking at proposals, priority will be given to agencies with strong community involvement in the South Lawndale area, the ability to collaborate with community resident landlords, which means landlords based in the area, plans for multiple clusters of activations, and a strategy to attract a diverse type of businesses to the commercial corridor. So not the same type of retailer for all of your participating businesses. Applicants with existing contracts with the city that are not in good standing will not be considered for new funding. In addition, applicants that have had city contracts terminated for default are also not eligible to respond to this RFP. Respondents that do not meet these requirements will not have their applications evaluated, and also incomplete applications will not be evaluated for this opportunity. One section of the RFP is we will ask to see a draft budget. More information, of course, is in the RFP itself. So in the budget, really give us a full snapshot of what you think it will take to launch this program. That includes program staffing, how much of your organization staff will be putting their time towards this project and how much that time costs. There is an option for indirect costs as well, and activation operating expenses. So that's your best guess on how much rent will be, utilities, insurance, and then materials needed to design and conduct the program. With this, there can be only temporary updates to the space, no permanent. So you can add maybe painting, but if you want to freshen up the walls, that is okay, but you can't install like new overhead lighting or something like that. So temporary only. And also make sure you budget for marketing and outreach expenses. So capital assets, so equipment, property are not allowable in this program. And It's also a reimbursable grant, which means your organization has to cover the initial expenses, and then after that, you will be reimbursed by the city through a vouchering process. If this is your first time dealing with a ARPA type of program, make sure you click this link at the bottom, which has a lot more detailed information about allowable program expenses. Also very important will be reporting requirements. So the selected delegate agency will be required to design and develop a data collection process and success metrics. So we, the city, expect the agency to work with an external evaluator as well. And the agency will be required to maintain requested data using a city-approved platform and submit reports and impact data. So the requested data is partially listed below. It's a minimum, but not limited to things like the number, location, and type of activations, any placemaking efforts, number of small businesses supported. So this list will likely be built on once we have the program ready to go. And the delegate agency is also required to keep detailed records on costs, in addition to other record keeping required for compliance with federal requirements related to the American Rescue Plan Act, aka ARPA, or state and local recovery funding as well. So how do we score these proposals? A full listing of all the questions is in the RFP, but here is a general overview. We look at the organizational overview, which highlights your organization's qualifications and capacity to implement this program. And this is the time to highlight your organization's mission, relevant experience, and how your leadership and staff are connected and accountable to the communities that you serve, specifically in South Lawndale. And this is the time to detail your organization's expertise in supporting small businesses, managing properties, and your team's roles and compensation to demonstrate your programmatic capacity. Next, there'll be several questions related to program design and implementation strategy. So provide a detailed plan on how your organization will successfully execute the program's activities, from equitably selecting participating businesses and the landlords where these activations will be held, and also providing robust technical assistance for the businesses. This is also the time to outline your org's marketing strategy and present a clear timeline with key milestones to demonstrate how you will be able to launch this program by January. Other things we want to know about is your organization's experience, which includes financial stability and compliance. The city needs to confirm your adherence to IRS regulations, internal policies, and we need to see documentation of past tax filings. And this is also the time to disclose any pending legal issues and detail your approach to monitoring program expenditures and maintaining fiscal controls. Last, it's the budget. So this section and the questions will address the financial aspects of your organization's proposal, and we will be reviewing your detailed budget. So this is the time to describe your org's plan for fiscally managing the project, including expenditure monitoring, financial record keeping, and confirming your cash flow for these reimbursement expenses. And this is also the time to highlight any relevant experience with federally funded programs. And then there'll be a section where we will grade for overall responsiveness. The contract term, once again, 14 months, starting in November of this year, concluding December 31st of 2026. No extensions. All programming must end by December 31st, 2026. And how to apply, just for any city RFPs, needs to be done through our e-procurement iSupplier system. Only once response and application can be submitted per iSupplier user ID. Speaking of iSupplier, this RFP due date is Wednesday, October 8th at noon. And we cannot emphasize enough to make sure you are well oriented with iSupplier before this date. Make sure your login works. Make sure you are comfortable with it. And we would advise giving yourself enough time to hit submit. Unfortunately, things happen. Organizations, maybe their internet's out the day of, or they're having computer troubles and they are unable to log in and hit that submit button before noon on the 8th. No extensions will be given. So make sure you get in there early and work on your application so you have plenty of time to complete before this hard deadline. And after things are submitted on the 8th at noon, we will review and make a decision by late October. And then also a recording of this conference will be posted on the BACP YouTube channel, and a link will also be on our website. Also need to mention, all proposals received by this deadline will undergo a technical review to determine whether all required components have been addressed and included. Proposals determined by us, BACP, that are incomplete will not be considered. And BACP also reserves the right to waive irregularities that, with its sole discretion, BACP determines to be minor. If such irregularities are waived, similar irregularities in all proposals will be waived. Contact information. If you need to get in touch with our team, there is our email address, which is BACPeconomerecovery@cityofchicago.org. Also, our website, Chicago.gov /BACPRecoveryPlan. And this iSupplier help desk information, it's listed in the RFP. It's also on the e-procurement site. But if you have any questions related to iSupplier, you need to contact them directly. We don't manage it, and we can't offer any assistance or guidance on how to use it. So you have to give them a call or send the iSupplier team an email. That's it for the presentation. Time for questions. Maurice, what do we have?
So far, we have no questions. We had one question earlier, which was asking how to, well, an individual indicated they could not find this opportunity in iSupplier. I did provide a link directly to the e-procurement website. I can also drop that in the chat, and I would advise individuals to go to the Department of Procurement Services, or DPS website, and you can, in the link that I will provide, it'll show you guys how to search for the opportunity based off of the department name, which is Business Affairs and Consumer Protection. You can search by the solicitation number or the RFP ID, which is 57044, or by the specification number, which is 1332975. And I will drop that information in the chat for individuals as well.
It looks like we just received another question in the Q&A, and it states, can you explain the deliverables if granted?
Can you repeat that question one more time?
Can you explain the deliverables if granted, I guess, for the chosen DA?
Sure. So once a delegate agency is selected based on what they put in their proposal that will kind of determine what the deliverables will be. And then part of that, based on this proposal, the city will come up with a work plan for this delegate agency. And that's when a lot of these things will be chosen to go back to reporting requirements. A lot of this data will also be in the deliverables to track the number of activations that the organization has, which businesses are being supported, placemaking efforts. That means like maybe special events that are being hosted at the site. So this is a snapshot of some of the data and deliverables that we will be asking for, but once again, it will be confirmed through a work plan once we select an agency based on their proposal. Any other questions?
So far, we have no additional questions.
Great. Well, that works for us. Once again, here is the email address for us. Any other questions that might pop up, or of course, if it is iSupplier related, please reach out to them directly.
And I want to reiterate that part because I think Sarah mentioned that earlier in her presentation that iSupplier seems to be a challenge for a lot of individuals, particularly if you have not used the system before navigating this. So we really would urge any interested organization to begin the registration process early and familiarize yourself with that system, and then make sure that you have that iSupplier help desk contact information, because they will be your source to resolve any of those issues. Unfortunately, the e-procurement system does not exist within BACP, and so we don't have insights on resolving some of the more technical issues that people encounter. So we would hate for you guys to waste any of your time contacting us about iSupplier. Please, please, please make use of the information provided here to first get your login, because you will need that login for iSupplier in order for you to actually start the application process. In the chat, I provided a link that's just for you to view the opportunity. But in order for you guys to actually apply, for those organizations to apply, you first need to get access, and you get that access by going through the iSupplier help desk. They will provide you access. It typically takes a couple of days to get that user ID. So you definitely do not want to wait until the very last minute before this application due date. So resolve those iSupplier issues, learn the navigation really early on in the process, and I guarantee you it will make the process much smoother for you guys.
Okay, it looks like we have one last question. And the question goes, will there be other store activations opening?
At this time, we can't discuss any potential or future programming within BACP. The only active program right now is with the South Lawndale Storefront Activation Program.
And those are all of the questions.
All right.
Sarah, do you want to
Yes.
address the question that we received in advance of this event around the focus being South Lawndale?
Sure. So if an organization has extra ideas to kind of build upon what's in this RFP, a previous question was, what if they want to do an activation in South Lawndale on Cermak instead of 26th Street? Of course, just put something like that in your proposal, this is the organization's time to be creative and show their understanding of the South Lawndale community area. So just make sure that is in your proposal. We won't rule anything out, but it needs to be an activation within that South Lawndale community area. Well, I think that's all the questions we have. I will stop sharing my screen. All right, well, thank you everybody for joining the call today. As previously mentioned, any other questions, email us directly, or if it's iSupplier related, reach out to them. RFP is due Wednesday, October 8th by noon. And thank you for joining us today.